where the Oddity have their star fraggers showing up.
Yeah, and on top of all of that, we have some interesting new switch-ups with the Wind Bastion operators Nomad and Kaid finally allowed in the ANZ Pro League as we head straight into Villa map number 1, the banning phase.
And Oddity are starting on defense.
There you go. So perhaps they can flex a little bit of that confidence, and I guess something that will help them greatly with that is banning out that Jackal, giving their roamers a lot more freedom, a lot more mobility, and being able to play a bit more aggressive, which they'll need to, because anchoring on side will be a lot more difficult without those mirror windows.
Are we going to see a Nomad or Kaid ban or being played at all on this map?
Well, I actually think Nomad on this map, incredibly powerful. The way that you can cut off rotations with the Nomad, very powerful, and it hasn't been banned. Kaid as well, kind of useful. Look, I wouldn't say he'd be especially useful compared to a map like Bank or Oregon, but you know, he still has that ACOG for those long angles on Villa, so not too terrible either, but he won't be banned either. So, still on the cards, both Wind Bastion operators in the first match as we resume Season 9 of the ANZ Pro League.
Yeah, Rizraz right onto Nomad. Now, also one thing I don't think we've mentioned yet is that there will be no 6th pick or reveal phase.
Yeah, just not happening tonight, just some technical issues, but that's fine because, you know, we can still really play the game without 6th pick. Doesn't make that much of a difference.
For sure. So, looking at this attack lineup, or these attack operators, right, we've got Spectre on the Thatcher. That's what I said to you today, Dev. I said that's the operator he's going to be on.
Yeah, well, good eye there. But he used to play it quite a lot on was it Verdict, I believe, and maybe even before that, sorry, after that on Dark Side a little bit as well. So, you know, we know he's pretty good at it. Likes to run a Holo side, if I recall correctly.
Well, the thing is, we've got Virtue playing the Zofia. And the Zofia is an operator we've seen Virtue just, sorry, not Virtue, we've seen Spectre just go absolutely massive with. So, and we saw Virtue playing tons of Thatcher at the Invitational as well. So,
yeah,
interesting to see that they've not switched those operators around. That's what I'd be expecting at least.
So it looks like Fnatic have decided, you know, Spectre will fit into this roster, but maybe we won't keep him on what he's comfortable with, on what he's used to been doing recently. We'll just make him fit onto the team, which I think is a wise choice.
It's very Dizzle, right, where he's going to make the person earn that spot of being that top entry fragger on the Zofia, whereas, you know, we've seen Virtue prove himself on this roster. Now they want Spectre to do it as well.
Well, as we get into the thick of the round, you can see right now Magnet with the Maverick starting to open some holes to expose those positions behind the bar. Virtue will clear that with some nice checking of the angle. Not too worried about that anymore. You also would have heard control completely taken of the study area as well as those south stairs. Nomad charges also deployed to prevent any kind of unwanted aggression from the Oddity players.
It's very one-dimensional, but as I say that, there is Lusty at L-Bend, or 90.
Oh, Virtue dodging just the number of bullets he needs to. Only one blast left in this explosive lifeline. It looks like he does take out the Evil Eye using that device. You can see Fnatic very well covering these flanks, watching out for those rotations downstairs, which we would expect Oddity to do.
Yeah, but as I said, Fnatic very one-dimensional. They haven't really done too much movement around the bomb site just yet. As there we go, God Legion's going to kick things off, and that's that entry fragger going down. See you later, Virtue.
A lot of damage for his trouble, though, onto God Legion, as well as Magnet on the other side. But Redolent now on the bomb side, holding a very tight angle. We can also see holes into Vault opened up. God Legion finding a second kill. That'll assist Oddity even further, but Todd with the flank. Everything's going the way of Oddity, and one more for the big man. God Legion a 3K, Todd a 2-piece. Oddity close out round number 1.
I believe it's Goddity and Toddity who are showing up today. Oh, what a Kobe as well.
Wow.
Over the Rio, and you reckon Fnatic might still be a bit jet-lagged?
Look, if I'm still sitting here on the cast, I'd like to think that they're all right.
All right.
Look, I think that Oddity certainly had it. It was a great round from them. Slow a bit to the start, and interesting that you mentioned the word one-dimensional.
It was.
Yeah, but I mean, that said, the thing that Fnatic was doing is they were doing, taking a small bite of the pie, but they were just doing it really, really well. And it came down to watching those flanks, preventing that from happening. But yeah, my obviously we can't know this for sure, but my idea is that God Legion playing that Valkyrie, he had all the cameras that he needed to know when to peek, which angles to peek. That was what helped him getting those kills. You can even see that final C4 thrown over that reinforced wall was indicative of a Valkyrie camera, of some extra intel being gleaned by the Oddity players.
It just really felt like that, I don't know, Fnatic were setting up for a push. And, you know, we saw at the very start of the round, Magna opening up the ankle high hole. Like, I think it really felt like they were hoping to springboard their round off of a kill from that, which, you know, is not something you can really rely on.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? You know, it's an important position to clear out behind that bar, but if you check it and there's no one there, then you haven't gotten that one kill. You don't have that numbers advantage. It
really felt like they made that first move, and then they're like, wait a minute, we need to gain some more control. We can't just force our way into the bomb site. Yeah. And they spread out and just got picked off.
I was a bit surprised they did really struggle with long hallway. I would have thought even potentially Nomad charges might have assisted, but didn't come to fruition. Nonetheless, Fnatic will bring a very similar roster as we see them going for a south side push onto this north side bomb site.
Yeah, we got the IQ this time for Spectre. That looks like the only operator change up. Definitely, I don't know, better fragger in terms of the fact that she has a 3-speed with a slightly better gun, but the L85, and I think he was running the AR, can do great, but Spectre, he's going to tell me, look at this, Monkey Fist, early kill for me.
There you go, Spectre doing what we know so well. However, he was fairly passive on the angle, just cutting off a rotation. That, to me, is indicative of being slotted in specifically to Fnatic's push, rather than just being told, all right, you can, push in through where you'd like to and try and, make an opening as you will. He's actually slotted into this attack fairly well and cut off that initial rotation. Also to mention, the Maestro taken off the board so early, those Maestro Evil Eye cameras not able to be turned or opened to use that laser camera.
Yeah, well, just half the round down. Once again, it still feels pretty one-dimensional, and it seems like they're really just trying to work the information angle. Here we go. Magnet's going to start working on a separate angle, but there is someone nearby, just outside the bathroom, or inside the bathroom.
Oddity himself inside the closet. An aggressive position. Not sure if he's been droned out yet, and Spectre elsewhere goes down to a C4. Todd really needs to do some damage in this aggressive position. He may well decide to go for a run out, but Magnet reads into it perfectly. Todd goes down. Just with 45 left on the clock, Fnatic poised with a numbers advantage.
It really felt like Todd should have won that one there, but Magnet able to switch it into his own team's favour. And there's only one player on site here for Oddity, and that's Vinny. He's not even on site exactly. So Fnatic have done great in forcing the back slowly. There's the second C4 kill for the round. There for Oddity, God Legion is going to find his own. Going to see the Smoke Babes come out to continue to deny anyone pushing in for the plant. And there's only 20 seconds remaining, Dev.
As time ticks away, the ticks of these Smoke Babes will certainly assist Oddity in the whole. God Legion in such a power play position. Fnatic have to make all the difference. The Nomad charge leads Vast to his demise, but Fnatic have to make the plan. Vinny denies it. 2 versus 2. 2 seconds left on the clock. God Legion just to hide. Just Rizraz left. God Legion and Vinny. And there you go. The plan gets denied. A great round from the Smoke player.
Yeah, 2 rounds in a row now. Oh, beautiful shotgun, by the way, there from Vinny. 2 rounds in a row for Oddity. Oh, this is looking, I don't know, like, the first round, it was heavily in favour of Oddity, and that second round was pretty 50-50, pretty touch and go. But at what point do we start getting worried for Fnatic here? Like, this is the #1 team in the region, and Oddity are showing them up right now.
Yeah, really interesting to me. Those 2 rounds worked reasonably similarly. We had, at the start, Fnatic take some good control. They played very slowly, gathered all the intel they needed, and then as...
Sorry, I just want to cut you off. They didn't take control. They got control given to them.
Yeah, fair enough. You know, they took control without having to take anything away from the defenders, I guess. Yeah. There was no contest.
It was like given map control.
Yeah, I think that that's the thing that maybe Fnatic is expecting. They're expecting when they're attempting to take this control that they will be met with a contest and they'll overcome that contest, and then they'll have a numbers advantage and they'll have taken map control as well. Whereas if Oddity are just sacrificing this to Fnatic, then Fnatic takes the map control and then it's kind of a, all right, what next?
Yeah, well, that is, I suppose, kind of what you would expect from Oddity, players that can just be very aggressive or overly aggressive at some points.
I think that's the good thing, though, is not just the aggression, but the knowledge to, all right, we don't actually have to aggress just yet. We can let Fnatic, you know, faff about on the other side of the map, take some map control for the first minute, and then we'll spring into action.
Interesting to see that Rizraz isn't running the AK.
Yeah, the thing is you're trading off either half the bullet capacity in the ARX as he is using, but slightly better fire rate, better damage, and better recoil. So it really is, are you going to be landing those headshots? And would you like that extra mag capacity? But Spectre, once again, 2 rounds in a row, he finds the first pick. It's Todd, who falls in this case roaming in the basement.
So Oddity goes from Toddity just to Goddity. He's the only one that can save them in this round, going off. Actually, you know, no, Vinny had a good round last round. What is it? Infinity?
Look, you can try as hard as you like. I don't know. I think the chat is the one that decides whether or not it takes off.
the oral gymnastics I'm going through right now.
So once again, Fnatic just taking some map control, not too much contest from Oddity, and as we saw when that contest did come out from Todd in the basement, it didn't work out for Oddity. So perhaps Oddity were playing smartly earlier by not contesting this early map control. And now as it collapses onto the site, Fnatic do have a minute and a half to work with, but more importantly, they have a man down. We can hear some of the destruction opening up areas upstairs, and Spectre just once again holding these rotations in the bomb site.
Here's the recipe to success here for Fnatic. Just drone Spectre in.
Well, so far it's not working out too well for Virtue. God Legion elsewhere on a roam with the castle playing on those stairs. Does find one above, and in fact he may well flank onto Spectre. Pre-fire from the UMP. Spectre almost retaliates, but it's just not enough damage. Now Oddity have springboarded themselves back into an advantageous position. 1 minute on the clock.
Why was Spectre really not expecting him to be there? Like, he knows the castle got the kill on the stairs just behind him.
I really don't know, Monkey. I'm not quite sure what was happening for Spectre there, but as we can see, it has stilted the Fnatic push.
Surely it's just a bit of growing pains here from the squad, as Redolent is going to find Magnet as well. So Rizraz and Lusty going to have to try and clutch this one out, 2v4.
Blow it up.
Growing pains are one thing, but this is a Pro League match right here. You really can't be losing too many of these, otherwise your land position will be compromised. That's a successful impact grenade trick onto the Hibana pellets. Lusty has no choice to try to take these fights. A stun grenade won't even assist him as we hear those ADSs chewing through them one by one. Finally, on the back of the stun grenade, he peeks, but doesn't see the prone player, just Rizraz. How good is Nomad? Surely not good enough. 2 seconds on the clock, Rizraz decides to save the KD. There you have it, Oddity, a triple threat of rounds across 3 bomb sites.
So I think this is where we start to get worried for Fnatic and be like, still on holidays, guys.
Well, this is the thing right now. You've played 3 successful defenses. Obviously, we know defense is favored on this map. Yeah. But now that Fnatic have seen Oddity's defenses on each of these sides, this is where push has to come to shove. Fnatic have seen how Oddity defend Aviator games. They've seen how they tried to attack it. They know what didn't go well. Now they have to make the adaptations, because it really is on the onus comes down to the team that lost the bomb site to then make that improvement next time based on the information that they gained the previous time. And if we don't see Fnatic make some adaptations to then overcome the key obstacles that Oddity presented to them, in this case it was a roaming God Legion playing off of information, and Todd as well just peeking down long hallway. If Fnatic don't have ways of dealing with that, it's not going to look so great for Oddity.
You know what? I don't know. It feels like a very slow-paced game. Like, we're not seeing trades. We're just seeing one frag come out and nothing else for like another 20 seconds. Like, I don't know. It's very strange right now.
Yeah, it's really hard to say because, of course, however you decide to push, takes manpower. Whether you want to push one player in on the back of a drone, that's 2 players who are being committed in that position. You want to push 2 players in, and then a drone in front of them, that's 3 players you're committing. And while you're committing to that one particular area, you're not pinching from another direction, you're not gaining map control elsewhere. So it's a very difficult decision to make sometimes.
Well, where are Fnatic going to take it this time? This is something different. They're gaining some downstairs control. A few air jabs on the flank there from Rizraz.
Interesting. So just one single air jab on that piano door. I guess it gathers a little bit of information, but even if a defender walked into that right now, I don't think that defender would be capitalized upon. I don't want to be too critical so early. See, this Nomad charge, that's a much more predictable one, a much more, you know, it's really easy to see how effective that would be. No one can now push out of that door, otherwise they'll be down on the floor and instantly be taken.
Well, once again, it's Fnatic given control of this half of the map, and Oddity is just happy to sit back and wait.
Slowly droning up the long hallway, however. Magnet knows he needs to clear that L-bend position. Not sure how Fnatic intend to do so, however. The IQ does spot out these Valkyrie cameras, so I like these adaptations from Fnatic. They know how much the information assisted God Legion in the previous round, and they're doing something about it. Oh my god, but not enough, clearly, because God Legion finds 2 with a C4. There you go, Todd on a run-out, bests out Spectre. That's not a gunfight the Jaeger's meant to win, but he does it anyway. Just Lusty and Rizraz again. What can we say for these 2 Fnatic players to clutch out a round for their team?
Dev, I love how you're like building up this storyline of, yeah, Fnatic are making their adaptations. We're going to see them come back to form, and then, you know, an act of God out of nowhere derails that.
God himself struck down 2 of the Fnatic players. Just 45 seconds left and just 2 in
hit the booty,
remaining.
Rizraz. Smack the booty. You can almost see it.
All right, picking on in. It's a real gamble here for Rizraz, and only a small magazine in the ARX as well means that when you're committing to these quick, short-range gunfights where you might be contesting multiple angles, it's really dangerous. Lusty pushing from the hallway. Rizraz really cautious. You can see him unpeaking from the position, but he eventually finds it. Has to force that reload. 15 seconds to go. 1 player in vault. And it looks like the plan can't be forced. He finds a second kill, but there's 3 more. This will have to be an ace clutch for Rizraz as the plan attempts to go down. No way that'll get sold. There you have it. Vast to close out the 4th round for Oddity.
4-0.
So, Fnatic, just in case you don't know, it's first to 7, so that's only 3 rounds away from losing at the moment. Getting a bit close for comfort, I think, for a lot of Fnatic fans. You
know, I feel like such a god analyst when I said that if Oddity start on defense, they can put a few rounds together and stretch out the lead. You know, that's what they've done so far. They've got 2 more rounds left on their defensive half, but I think they're looking good for a 6-0 right here, right now, aren't we? Like, we haven't seen proof to the contrary.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can say that as well. We do have to acknowledge this is a defensive favored map. So when things switch over and Fnatic get a couple rounds in on their defensive side, I wouldn't be surprised to see things swing the other way. That said, you shouldn't be letting this many rounds go unanswered, especially since round by round Fnatic haven't been making a lot of progress in these rounds. A lot of these have been very convincingly Oddity favored.
Yeah, they haven't really been mobile at all throughout the whole map, have they, Fnatic? It seems like, I don't know, they're just going super duper slow. As you said, small but good bites of the pie. Yes, but not fast enough.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes, you know, they take the small bites and then it comes down to actually, you know, finishing the job, pushing into the bomb site, clearing out some of these essential positions, and they don't do that. For example, they actually never properly had control of the L hallway position that Todd got a 2K from in the first round. They didn't actually clear out Vault. It got to a point where they're like, all right, so we have control of Study, and we're going to start pushing in from here. We've done some good work downstairs as well, maintaining some map control. But now it's time to actually make the big strides, and they fall apart.
You know, arguably, Spectre also should have won that fight under Todd with the run out. Like, I don't know how Todd won that, but...
Yeah, I mean, that's not the kind of thing that, in my opinion, makes a difference between a round, but it certainly brings up a couple of questions.
It would have, I don't know, if Spectre had won that duel, it would have been a 4-on-3, and I would have been like, you know, they still have a fairly good chance of winning this one. But when it's a 2-on-4, I'm like, you know, they're going to have to clutch pretty deep for this one.
Yeah. Into those Maverick Blowtorch, opening up just a couple of peepholes into the bomb site. And I think dislodging these players on the bomb site will be a priority for Fnatic. However, it's a lot easier said than done. And trying to win gunfights through those holes after the defenders know they're there is actually very difficult.
Once again, it really looks like Fnatic, I don't know, sloppy. They're not drilled for this, it seems. Like, in a way, of course, put it down to just Spectre being new on the team, but I don't know, it just still looks really slow and lethargic.
Ooh, God Legion in a very precarious position. He's drone. All right, that's a C4 to kill a drone. I like it. Attempting to C4 through the floor to take out any players, but he didn't have the adequate intel, and he missed the player who was on the stairs. The C4 missed any player because there was none on the landing.
Yeah, well, a minute on the clock, and it's still a 5-on-5. Spectre has taken a bit of a tag there.
Still a lot of players up, as you mentioned, and finally it looks like some serious progress being made by Fnatic, but there you have it. The counters from Oddity, a simple impact grenade thrown over the top, denies the Hibana pellets.
I just have no idea what their plan is. Like, I can't see any attack shaping up, although, okay, sure, right. Here's the plan.
Crash that might actually work. There you go. All right, crouch walk on into the bomb site. Rizraz will make it happen. Oddity left questioning, where did this plan go down? How do we not know about this? The Nomad charges as well being utilized. Redolent checking this corner. Will he check the one where Rizraz does lie? Rizraz peeks it. He gets a dinner damage, but what? Finally it goes down, but Vinny missing a lot, sorry, Redolent missing a lot of important shots and eventually taken down. Fnatic finally find a round.
Well, as I said, I have no idea what Fnatic are doing, and neither does Oddity, but somehow it works.
It's funny because earlier it was Oddity had so much intel and that was working out so great for them. And then we see a round where Godlegion just throws a C4 with no info, or almost no info. He only had really vague info. There's someone pushing from this direction. I'm going to C4 the floor. We'll see if it kills someone. And then no info when Rizraz simply crouch walks into the bomb site where Oddity aren't looking and nails down a plan. I feel like there's Oddity have to have more intel than that.
Oh yeah, like just the C4 from below, and the, you know, they've put the round back into their favor. Like,
even if you know exactly where that plant is, the retake isn't as bad, but they didn't know. They didn't know where the players were either.
I don't know, well this has been an oddity of a match so far, hasn't it, Dev?
It certainly has, but that said, I'm still a massive Rainbow Six Siege fanatic. No comment after that one?
No, well, you know, I just wanted to say that was very inelegant. You could have fitted that in way better.
Oh, wow, all right. All right, we'll talk about it more in our VOD review later.
You need a pun better, Dev.
I'm sure you can school me about it later. But for now, Oddity have decided with that loss, I'll just keep on rotating downstairs. They're not forced to this time, but Kitchen worked out pretty well for them previously, and why not try it again?
They've just told themselves if we act like we won the last round, we can still feel like we've won it. Like,
yeah, like that makes a difference sometimes, doesn't it?
Well, here we go. 2.5 minutes down. Todd has taken a little bit of damage. Now remember on this last time we saw Fnatic attacking this bomb site, Todd was caught with his pants down downstairs. At least I'm going to assume he had his pants down.
Oh, what?
Rizraz has been found without his.
Okay, Legion, I'm not really sure what that was. Just let's not reinforce one of these crucial walls. And then as
have a punch hole, yeah.
Yeah, and then just, you know, shoot on through it. Not too bad at all. It's funny because we've actually seen him open up that tiny peak hole every single round.
Yeah, we have.
And it worked out this time. So, you know, hats off to God Legion. Also, making it work with the UMP, not the greatest of weapons out there. Something to write home about.
Was that a strategy 6 rounds in the making?
When Fnatic go back and watch this VOD, they'll see how he prepped that hole every single round.
It was the long play, the long con.
Love that new breaching charge animation with Operation Burnt Horizon. You really can deploy those breaching charges much faster than previously. It makes it a bit more viable.
As a player that enjoys hot breaching, it's so good.
Hot breaching twice as fast as before. Now, Oddity mostly playing down in the bomb site, as we've seen, you know, pretty frequent from them. And these roamers do exist. However, they play very passively for a very long period of time. God Legion and Oddity both have done tremendous amounts of work on those roles. Now, Spectre has been successfully denying a lot of intel, but we've seen it doesn't always make the difference.
It really feels like Spectre is being a bit of a lone gunner at the moment. Like, he'll just push and put some pressure on from one angle. Like, he is their extra dimension, while they've been very one-dimensional for the most part. Look at this, 40 seconds. They're at a man disadvantage, and, you know, it really doesn't feel like they're ready to push into the bomb site, but they're going to be forced to.
I really feel like there needs to be something to dislodge these players.
Oh,
Spectre, you don't see him. Spectre, you have to see that. God Legion just teasing away the position. Now he doesn't even have to peek. Oh my god! Sends him flying, and there you have it. God Legion with a kill on the impact grenade. Just 3 players left from Fnatic. Matt, what can he do? This is a game of Twister for Redolent on the other side of the wall, and once again, all of the anchors making the difference. Magnet finds 1 kill, but just him and Virtue to clean it up, making it a little bit more even, but it's pretty much impossible for Magnet at this position. Vast, a nice 2K to close out the half.
Well, 5-1 half here. Oddity in the lead against Fnatic. You know, no one saw this coming. You know, if you were asking me to predict the outcome of this match, I'd say Fnatic 7-4, 7-4.
Look, I've seen this before. We've seen scorelines going into the second half like this before. But that doesn't mean that we expect to see it with these two teams.
Looks like Rizraz is going to be that permanent Wind Bastion player.
Fnatic are just experimenting, I suppose. Look, I'm not going to be too much of a skeptic before I see it. I think there's certainly something to be said for trying out new things, but if it's not going to work, you don't have to force it. You know, sometimes tried and true is better, as Oddity have demonstrated, not picking Kaid once and going for a lot of fairly simple strategies. You know, let's bunker down on site, 1 or 2 players roaming, you know, see if they can get some picks. If not, they'll play really patiently and come and flank when necessary. It worked so well for Oddity, and it was textbook, it was simple, it was old school. Fnatic, their pushes become very complicated. I think it's to do with sometimes, you know, okay, let's have... Oh, you go.
I just wanted to say, it was very hard to pin down the Oddity playstyle, I felt. It just felt weird to me, and I think Fnatic were experiencing the same thing.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, I get you. You know, they were never quite sure if there would be a player playing aggressively, and so often they would look for these players playing aggressively, and they would find nothing.
Deploying drone.
Yeah, and that was just slowing them down even more, and then suddenly you got Todd running out from like kitchen area, and you know, just a C4 just comes out and annihilates them out of nowhere. Like, are they just not ready for some of this vertical play? Is that what it is?
Speaking of vertical play, Todd on the buck downstairs. Yeah, nice and easy dispatch of that Evil Eye. Spectre actually might be spotted roaming downstairs solo as Vigil. Not activating that ERC7 disruptor means that Vinny may well drone him out. There we go. It happens, and Spectre rotates on downstairs behind that Vigil scanner.
It's just gonna yeet on out of there, as the kids say. I'm hit with it.
Could be an unexpected position for, I believe it's Magnet on the stairs. There you have it. Oh! How do you win that fast? No way should that have happened. A flurry of kills for Oddity. 2 headshots, and now Spectre, the lone roamer, he has to flank. He has to make the mark right now, because or he has to get back to site safely. It's such a predicament for his 2 teammates on site.
You know, you just can't win, it feels like, for Fnatic. It just feels like everything they do is just getting told no. But there we go, Spectre is going to peek onto Todd, get his revenge for earlier, and Lusty is going to even it up with finding God Legion as well. Virtue with his own onto Vast. You know, I might have spoken too soon, as you know, that man advantage has flipped so quick, but once again, topsy-turvy we go, and it's up to Spectre 1v2 on the flank on the retake.
We know that this is possible, and he's got an excellent operator to do it. So much fragging potential here, and an impact grenade to boot. Peeking very slowly.
Seems like they have an inkling of where he is, but they are so stacked up on top of each other.
A simple spray down could take out potentially both players.
Oh no, they've spread out now.
Playing very passively now. I think a smart move for Oddity. That impact grenade, not likely to find anything. Redolent very low on HP, but he'll be taken out with a headshot. Beautiful job from Spectre, and now the final position has been revealed, but Vinny cleans up Spectre with the para, and Oddity secure their first attack. Match point.
Well, that round had more twists and turns than an M. Night Shyamalan blockbuster.
I feel like you say that every time we cast.
But it's such a good line.
All right.
Sorry if I don't think of new ones every time, Dev. When you perform, you don't play different songs every time.
Okay.
You bring back the classics.
All right. Everyone wants to hear the classics.
The classics.
We're on match point, Monkey.
I know. For Oddity.
For Oddity.
For Oddity.
And this is a fast game. Even if this was to Fnatic right now, I'd be surprised.
What an oddity. Okay, so that round, let's do some analysis. Engage the thinking caps, activate those almonds. How did Oddity win it? What was their secret to success?
I don't really know if there's a secret, Monkey. Piece by piece. Obviously, we didn't see how God Legion had that first kill. We saw what Vast did, pushing up these main stairs, trying to melee some barbed wire. When Magnet peeks him and misses a lot of shots, and Vast somehow finds the return kill. I don't know how that was possible, but it was. So a bit of a rusty moment for some of the Fnatic players. Good positioning, but bad aim. Sometimes that's what matters. Elsewhere, whether it was disjointed, disorganization, eventually though Fnatic did find a couple kills for using their anchors on site, but
Redolent had a really good entry into the site as well,
yeah.
Killing, was it Rizraz behind the bar, I think, Kaid.
And that harks back to something that I was talking to Vast about on the podcast. Vast was saying, he believes that it's fairly comfortable to believe that God Legion and Todd will pop off. What really makes the difference is will the supportive players, will players such as Redolent be doing their job and also be trusted to make an entry if needed, and Redolent is proving that.
Oh, and Spectre has been discovered downstairs here. They are going to push for him hard, I feel like. Okay, they're thinking twice about running in past the stairs. And I think Spec has found the drone. He's going to pop the hatch and he's going to go get lost in the labyrinth here.
The thing is, Jackal's been banned. Drones don't really work effectively against a Vigil. The only real way to hunt this Vigil is using the IQ scanner, and with the amount that Spectre is activating that ability, I don't expect it to be effective, especially not when he has a shotgun slug in the face, as Rizraz will so generously provide.
Yeah, that shotgun,
quotation marks.
Yeah, quotation marks, is a beast, isn't it?
Well, at least Rizraz demonstrating some use of the new operators, the Wind Bastion operators. Looks like control over 90 has been taken by Todd. Perfect operator to have in the position as well. Buck with his grenades and his soft breaching capabilities, clearing out a lot of these positions in the bomb site. In fact, if Todd has the information, he could throw a grenade over that reinforced wall and
doing.
Straight onto Rizraz.
Oh, it doesn't land.
It's a huge amount of damage onto Rizraz, but close as no cigar. Still one player behind the bar.
Oh, he saw him!
Oh no, Todd falls to Lusty, holding with the Elder in such a strong position. He needs to continue to lock down the area. Magnet peeks out aggressively and finds one headshot, redeeming himself for the previous round. He'll look for a second one, but Redolent again with 2 kills. So low on HP, but 45 seconds. Fnatic also falling apart with Vinny making an entrance onto the bomb site.
He's got control of it. There is that Evil Eye in the corner, but there is no. Well, 1v1 right now. Spectre versus Vinny with 30 seconds to go, and Vinny is lit.
Spectre also has eyes on the diffuser. Not sure if he's aware of it. Smoke now. Spectre will just tap away, and even if one of these lands into Villi, he's a dead man. The diffuser gets picked up. Spectre pre-fires the wall. Yes, some indication of what's happening, but there is almost no time remaining. This plant has to be stuck right now. 5 seconds remaining. Spectre surely isn't a good position, but no! He's playing passively, and Vinny gets baited completely out of it. Fnatic survive just a little bit longer on Villa.
Anyway, what I was about to say before it all went down was that the Maestro was gone, so his evil eyes were the only gathering information. They wouldn't have denied any plants, but you know, that was irrelevant.
So, did I interrupt you there, Monkey?
No, I kind of like lost my train of thought because I was like watching what was happening on the screen. Okay, I tripped over in a caster sense.
It's okay. It's okay. Happens to the best of us. And,
well, Frost.
Okay. Fnatic like mixing things up, don't they? You know, they like a bit of Frost, they like a bit of Kaid.
Yeah, they like winning, and also they like going 2-6 right now.
That was a bit harsh, a bit earlier.
But that is a bit of a mix-up from them normally winning, right?
Yeah,
like
oh, for sure, for sure. So, now we head over to Stat Tree. This is one that they managed to successfully attack. In fact, it's been the only one that Fnatic successfully attacked in this game. Oddity so far succeeded one onto AVG, that's Aviator Games, but Fnatic really have to step up in this stat defense, because obviously they can win one defense onto that one bomb site, but they actually have to completely win every following defense if they want to draw this up.
Yeah, the best they can do is a draw, right? And August are only 3 points behind them. So, you know, assuming August win their 2 games later and Fnatic win their next one, it's going to be even Steven at the top of the leaderboard there.
Exciting.
We do live in interesting times.
Well, something also to know is that before GRU disbanded, August were actually at the top of the Pro League standings. Yeah, they were, yeah. And so when GRU disbanded, all of their results were null and void, and so their performance against August was null and void, and August lost 4 points.
Launching drone. Sensor activated.
That's unfortunate for them.
Oh, that's all right. It all balances out at the end, because Fnatic, of course, hadn't faced GRU yet, and in theory, they would have gotten some points from facing GRU. So it'll comes around.
Loading mag.
Well, a minute down, and very slow from the attackers once again. Is that just Villa in general?
Look, it is really hard to take some ground on the attacking side. On Villa, it's just such an unwieldy map. There aren't really many rooms where you can just take for granted. Have to really drone thoroughly. There might seem to be a focus for Oddity. They want to open up this wall, and they may well get it successfully. No impact trick. Kaid not doing his job either.
What was that counter by? Was it the grenade?
I think you might be right. Simple grenade over the top prevented the Kaid.
I honestly thought that was just an impact trick gone too early, but looks like Todd might have used up one of those grenades, and Vinny, you know, if he loses a fight through here, it just should not happen. But God Legion's going to win one onto Virtue's taken a lot of damage for his trouble.
Still, it's a good pick onto the smoke. We've seen how effective smoke can be. In fact, it was actually this bomb site Virtue playing smoke that was their final round where they lost against Norango at the Invitationals.
Look how close.
Bit of a heartbreaking one.
Yeah, Spectre is here. He's gathering all this information.
Still, it's a bit of a story for Oddity. They're waiting for that moment, and so far it's not coming. Spectre will find a C4 thrown over to the stairs. Vast, very, very keen on peeking in. However, he's cautious as well. Spectre still not stunned out by those stun grenades, and there are so many angles to deal with. Spectre still not stunned out. He peeks and finds one magnet as well with the 9mm. Just 2 players left on the attack. Make that one. Vinny's down on the floor. Redolent, he's good, but he's got 4 players to find, and he won't even find the first one.
That was a massive round there from Spectre.
Yep, sitting inside Astro. Certainly worked out for him with the UMP, a weapon that it's not the greatest one out there, but Spectre makes it work.
One of the greatest things we see from Spectre is just how good he is at hitting headshots. I know you're like, well, yeah, of course, go for headshots, but I don't know. He's just got a crisp, flicky style of aim. I really like watching his gunfights.
Yeah, and especially in those close quarters gunfights when people are moving fast and close, relative to your screen, the objects actually are moving faster. than if, say, you're a long way away and they're not moving as many pixels across your screen. So you have to actually flick a lot further. As we see the scoreboard, Spectre has shown up for his team so far. So the newest pickup, top fragging.
And Virtue is 2 and 8.
Yeah. It's not something we'd expect for
top. What was it? Top KD or something?
Top 3 or top KD or something. Top 3 rating, top 2 KD or something in the Invitational. Pretty insane for Virtue, at least recently. Today, not having it.
I suppose it just shows what a war zone the ANZ ranked scene can be.
I don't follow.
Well, I don't know. If you come up against, like, God Legion and Todd...
These guys are monsters. You don't want to face these in ranked.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Yeah. Well, you're saying that this is invitational versus ranked right now. Is that what you're saying? Okay. All right, I'll pay it. I think we got to give some credit. I'm just making an
observation. Right. You know, I'm not affecting the results here.
People say ranked like or ranked style as a negative thing in Pro League, and I don't want to get that idea because Oddity are an incredibly strong, well-coordinated and strategic team who also have excellent individual play.
Some great coordination we just saw there, for example. But like, I don't know, every time we see like a Puggish style team like play against a well-organized team, it always feels like the Puggish team comes out on top for the most part. Like, think Fnatic against Evil Geniuses.
That's the real thing these days. People have mentioned that aggression does pay, and it seems to be that way a lot of the time. Sometimes you're so stuck up in one thing that, well, it's not always going to work out for you. And we can see Oddity, they have that perfect mix of organization and the ability to let loose when it's needed.
I think God Legion's seen that laser sight on the wall. Whose was it? I think it might have been Lusty's.
I think you might be right there. And in fact, 3 players are stacked up in this direction. It'll be suicide for God Legion to attempt to walk into this doorway. For his sake, I hope that there'll be a drone or 2 sent forward before he attempts it.
Well, I suppose the point I was trying to make earlier is that God Legion, Rattle, and Vast, they're all ranked demons, like fiends. They're on the ranked grind all the time. You know what I mean?
Well, funny you should say that, because when I was chatting to Vast on Tuesday, he said he hasn't even played ranked this season.
This season, but like...
Yeah. Alright, looks like the execute may be well coming out. Nice and
Finally.
early as well. And not sure how you find that, God Legion, but I'll pay it. Oddity eats a Capcan charge, and a flank as well may work out. However, Todd gets one, traded out. Just God Legion left, 2 players to deal with. He is in the bomb site, but he only has a sliver of HP. On the positive side, plenty of time to work with.
I thought the diffuser gone down. It was a tiny sliver left, but it looks like it was denied. Just Virtue and Spectre, both full HP. And surely this plant doesn't go down.
Ooh, his position's been revealed now. He knows where both of the players are. He has a hole in the wall where he can deal with it. I think... Where's that player going? What?
That outside rotate? Okay.
Spectre? Okay, Spectre. Now it's a 1 versus 1. Yeah, just leave Virtue on his own. Just God Legion and Virtue now. Very questionable rotate from Spectre, but Blank goes down. Fortunately for Spectre and for Fnatic, Virtue keeps his team in the game. That would have been a horrible way to let the game slip to Oddity. Well, I don't know why. Like, I'm sorry. I want to say that that was a good shot from Virtue and like, oh, good try, God Legion, almost. But what was that from Spectre? Like, I'm all for unorthodox uses of the outside area, but he ran all the way outside to peek a window that would have gotten him a new angle onto the defenders, so the player in the bomb site, but then he didn't peek it. He jumped through it. I don't understand.
I think his blood was boiling. He's like, yeah, I'm going to make the play.
Must
so
move.
He runs outside. Halfway through it, he realizes this was a bad idea, so I might try and mitigate it just by getting back inside as quickly as possible.
All right. Well, we had 3 in a row for Fnatic now. Coming back from a 6-1 is a pretty formidable position. You know, you're pretty happy with that. But will the ball keep rolling? Oddity have already scored 1 attack, and it was in their very first attack round onto this very bomb site.
I don't know, it feels like maybe I'm just thinking like this because it was a 5-1 half, but it really feels like Oddity have been a lot closer in their attacks than Fnatic were.
I think that's fair to say.
How about you? Okay,
No, I think it's fair to
me?
say. I mean, like, we just looked at what was a 1v1 potentially a win for Oddity on Fnatic's defenses, whereas for the most part, when Fnatic were on their attacking half, they weren't getting too close at all, and Oddity were performing especially well. It seems interesting to me that Kaid, the use of Kaid, is just, all right, let's put Kaid charges on these two walls where we would usually put bandits, and that's it. So you're basically just playing a bandit, but instead of the barbed wire or the C4 that bandit's got, you've got the barbed wire, the impacts that Kaid's got, and instead of the MP7, you've got the giant slug shotgun.
Shotgun.
Slug machine.
DMR.
Mini DMR. Alright, so Vast baiting out one goo mine. Nice, but a bit of a struggle there. Takes a bit of damage for it. Fortunately for him, Legion traps, those goo mines have recently received a minor nerf to the amount of damage that they deal. That said, they actually clog up your vision a lot more than they did previously. This Montaigne is gathering a huge amount of information onto this long hallway, as well as into the bomb site itself.
I don't think Magnet even knows he's here.
There you go. Ooh, that's a nice placement.
The old toss down the hallway. But Monty's got his buddy there, Thermite, to help him clear out the barbed wire. Well, the barb underneath his foot. That's what I was going for.
I get you, the caltrop. All right, so still in the bomb site. Still in the bomb site. Hey, that was the code name for Legion before it was released. Did you know that?
Yeah, but that's what a caltrop is, a spiky thing to stand on.
Yeah, exactly.
Accidentally, not intentionally. Just for clarification.
All right, an aggressive pick from Vinity. Wow, that's fully clearing out. Great use of utility. Also taking out that Evil Eye device. Now he has full control over L, and he can, in fact, still put pressure onto Volt if he so wishes to.
How did he not die to Rizraz on the stairs? I'm just surprised.
It's a crucial shot missed for Rizraz, I think.
I don't think Rizraz even saw him, though.
Thought I saw one shot go towards him. That said, still a strong position for Oddity moving forwards, but they do have to take this next step, and Lusty makes it a bit more difficult for him. Spectre as well, clearing out the player who was in long. It's a bit of a gamble now for Oddity. God Legion, the one to try to plant. Redland again with the 5.56, doing so much work. Surely this isn't possible. God Legion is taken out. The plant denied. All the smokes denied as well. Vast not doing too much here on the Monty. Just Redland left. Not with his team at all. Bit of a difficult position to be in. 4 players to find. It's only got to be an ace clutch. That's it, really.
Alright, so Fnatic bringing it back. Steadied the rocking of the boat.
I can just hear it right now. I can hear, you know, Dizzle saying, "Oh, Monkey had no faith in us, and we came back."
I just call it how I see it, Dizzle.
Fair, fair.
Like, 5-1 half, you're thinking this is over.
Well,
like,
we are on the final point. This is now the final point of the round. Either we finally see Fnatic come back from a 5-1 deficit, in fact a 6-1 deficit, or Oddity close it out. And if they close it out now, why couldn't you have done it 5 rounds ago?
For round differential, of course, Dev.
So, Fnatic's fate lies here in Statuary and Trophy Room. Very similar lineup from the Fnatic guys. Same kind of stuff they've been whipping out time and time again. On the side of Oddity, God Legion flexing over onto the Ashe, something that we know he's fairly comfortable on. He's pretty comfortable on the IQ as well, but hey, it's match point. Why not mix it up? Already played 5 match points so far.
I think he played Ashe a few rounds. Look at this. Spectre, double his closest teammate.
God, and God Legion more than... Oh, there you go, double.
Same.
Yeah, same thing. 16! That's a lot of kills. That's 2.0 KD for God Legion, and I think that's at the point where you're like, yeah, okay, I can play Ashe.
Got your Ashe license.
Yeah, 2.0 KD, that's your Ashe license.
Well, this is make it or break it for both teams.
Interesting Claymore, you know, that's a winner you wouldn't expect a lot of players to jump out, but we've seen Fnatic sometimes like to jump out of places we don't expect them, so You know, I like your thinking, Todd. Might work.
Just got to take that gamble. As it looks like we're going to be clearing out the old standard master bedroom first.
Yeah, the real problem was control of master bedroom is nice and easy, but opening up this main wall with the impact trick and the Kaids, Oddity have managed to make it work in the past, but especially now that we have the vertical potential of Spectre and Magnet, will that be enough? Okay, so I believe the wall may well be open, but you know, what's the next step? Clearing out Astro turned out to be such a difficulty previously. Todd on the window, not likely to fully clear out the position we saw Spectre do so well in previously.
Just send God Legion in. I think he's doing well enough right now.
Second floor. Drone spinning up.
Still the collapse awaited. Onto this astronomy room. No one playing in it just now, but you can see Fnatic have an easy way to rotate back in there. They're also cautious of God Legion pushing from the other side. Drones also spotting out Rizraz and continuing on. Spectre now in a very dangerous position, but his C4 finds absolutely nothing. A huge wasted opportunity for Spectre, but 1 minute to go for Oddity to close out map number 1.
Well, there goes God Legion. Ash license revoked. Magnet is going to shut him on down, and here's going to be Vinny. He really has to challenge on in to Astro right here. No, he hasn't seen Lusty there, but Lusty's going to finish him off. 5-on-3 with 50 seconds to go. This is looking like, Dev, we are going to reach that 6-6 right now, as it is just Todd and Redolent left.
Oh, Rizraz, what a shot onto Todd as well. Once again, I feel like we've seen it so many times. Redolent versus the world. It's only got to be an ace clutch. That's it. I'm sure you can pull it off. Why don't you start it with Rizraz? Nope, Lusty will steal that away. And Fnatic equalize 6-6 after such a significant 6-1 deficit.
I don't know. You know, as I said, does it just feel like Oddity were a lot closer on their attacks because they had a 5-1 half, or...
Look, I think
fairly even across the board?